the world has responded like regarding the attack in Ecuador, the Mexican embassy. Ecuador's forces forcefully entered the Mexican embassy in Quito to arrest the former vice president of Ecuador, Jorge Iglesias, who according to authorities is a criminal. But he was in the embassy, protected by the Mexican government, and according to experts, what the Ecuadorian government did is like invading Mexico, to gather such a large number of military armed forces to reach Mexico and invade to that degree. That's why experts were warning about it. What Ecuador did was historic, and it could cost dearly as the world might turn its back. But what have the world's countries done already? Well, the Venezuelan government has offered absolute solidarity to the government of Mexico. Even the Venezuelan government said this act was barbaric and violates the principles of international law. The Honduran government has ensured that this is an intolerable act for the indigenous community. International. It cannot be allowed. The government of Colombia claims that what Ecuador did has broken the pact and that the Ecuadorian government has violated Mexico's sovereignty. Cuba has expressed solidarity with the Mexican government by stating that this is an unacceptable violation and Mexico's sovereignty has been breached. Bolivia has strongly condemned what the Ecuadorian forces did and that these fails in the history of international law. The government of Arasa claims that what the Ecuadorian government has just done is dangerous and constitutes and that it must be the subject of strong repudiation. The government of Chile expresses its concern for what this may lead to, and the president it always led. I deeply dealt with the fact and publicly rejects what happened, and that it is a serious violation that happened to Mexico by the forces of Ecuador. The government of Paraguay assured that it is very worried. The government of Peru has flatly rejected any breach of international law. The government of Argentina condemned fully what the government of Ecuador does to the Mexican embassy. In Mexico, there are currently presidential elections. The candidates have already come out to speak. They have condemned what is happening. Claudia Sheinbaum called it an affront to diplomacy and international law and demanded respect for the sovereignty of Mexican embassies. Presidential candidate Xochitl Gálvez said the same, completely condemning what happened. Ecuador's reactions are also strong. Pablo Muñoz, mayor of Quito, said what the Ecuadorian government has just done is a global embarrassment. Unacceptable. Rafael Correa, former president of Ecuador, has stated that what the Ecuadorian government did is unprecedented in Latin American history, not even in the worst dictatorships. An embassy of a country, the CONAIE, which is the Confederation of Indigenous Nations of Ecuador, has been violated. Did you express your disapproval of the actions? That international law has been violated. The president of the Andean parliament said that what the Ecuadorian government has just done has already caused serious international conflict and it is unforgivable. Today, the Organization of American States has fully rejected the actions so that more and more countries completely reject how the Ecuadorian government invaded Mexico, considering the Mexican embassy as Mexican territory. This has drawn Ecuador into a terrible conflict because the world might turn its back on it. Now tell me, what do you think?